Hi. Heads up. Really struggling right now to do this. Not quite sure why. So maybe something good will come out of it. And so I have started so many times and I'm done. I'm just going to do it. And if I fumble and if I kind of lose my train of thought, then you know what? Welcome to my head. Okay. So I'm always so in awe of life. I really am. And I have noticed throughout my lifetime themes that are like woven in and out of my life. And something will come to me, at one age and then at another time and another way and another method, but it's the same message or it's the same thing. And I either acknowledge it, accept it, toss it, use it, whatever. I don't know, but it just keeps coming. And there's several key themes that I have noticed. And they're little things too. For example, Mel Robbins. Not that she's little, but it's just the idea. Okay. So the first time I heard about her was through my colleague. I think I mentioned her before about the high five habit, right? The book that I was going to get and I never did and forgot, and you know how it all kind of happens like that. Which, by the way, I just got a call that it's actually in at the Bookman, so I will go pick it up. Okay. High five. Anyway, but I heard about it from her because she really believed in it and thought it was great and she shared it. Awesome. And it wasn't until 2 years later, or I don't know, a year and a half later, or however it may have been, that I came across her again. Okay. I didn't even actually clue in. When I first started hearing her, I didn't even actually realize that she was the 5 habit woman. Okay. Anyway, so I heard her talk and I wasn't really sure. And no offense, but then I decided to go and check out her very first podcast. So I go to her very first podcast, and this is where I kind of get really excited again. Isn't it kind of cool how her very first podcast 2 years ago led to my very first YouTube channel 2 days ago? She did her first podcast on her 52nd birthday. Oh, on her 54th birthday, pardon me. And I'm not going to restart it. Her 54th birthday. And I did my YouTube channel on 2 weeks before my birthday. Coincidence? I don't know. Anyway, so I was listening to her podcast, and she was talking about 3 steps that you can do to change your life. She shared her 52nd birthday video, not a podcast, but a video, where she was really struggling and was kind of having a really hard time and was lost, unmotivated, lost, gonna lose everything, that kind of stuff. And she shared that on the video, and then she also kind of made a claim that she's going to make changes and she's going to do blah, 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 blah. And now, she was replaying that video 2 years later when she now has a podcast. So I thought that was pretty cool. Very brave. She's evidence. So she says that there's 3 steps to making changes in your life, maybe even taking back control of your life. So she, first of all, though, she talks about a fresh start effect and how this fresh start effect actually is a real thing where, anniversary or birthdays, weddings, funerals, I would assume graduations, birthday wishes, New Year, that kind of stuff. She called it temporal landmarking, which is dates or physical things that actually kind of mark the passing of time and kind of makes you get motivated. Intrinsic motivated. I think that was the word. Anyway, and I thought that was kind of interesting for me on that part too. I really liked how she explained the birthday wish, especially because in my world, right, that's actually very magical. That is a spell that you're casting when you make a wish. and you blow out the candle. And how she described it is exactly what it is. You're casting out a spell when you make a wish. And so I thought that was really cool how she described that, and how when you do that, for that moment when you close your eyes and you go, you don't hear anything else really, because you're looking inside, going to like your deepest desires and your wishes and your wild dreams and imagination, and what could you possibly get. And so you're in that place, which I think is pretty cool. And so what else then? Yeah, so then what she says, okay, that's all her thing. And you know what? I highly recommend watching that podcast, because she says it way better than I do. But the 3 steps that she had talked about. So you make a wish. So, and basically, that's actually harder. Believe it or not, that is actually harder to do than what it sounds like. Make a wish. I actually had to think about this. I've listened to that podcast, that first one, I don't even know how many times now. And I really had to think about making a wish. Even when she says, ask yourself, what do I want my year to look like? Okay. Still, it was kind of hard to narrow it down too. And then I started thinking, well, how many wishes can I have? And if I wished more than one thing in the wish, then it might be too overwhelming to the universe. I don't know, my head went all weird there for a second. Anyway, so make a wish. And basically it's, what do you want your life to look like next year? So I have a good idea of what I want my life to look like next year. I'm figuring out my purpose and my path. Having to switch some things in my head because, I had goals to achieve certain things, which I'm thinking I'm going to move to over here so I can focus on the self-care piece. The self-care piece is so important, and it's like I need to let everybody know. And then I started thinking, though, just earlier today, I started thinking, wait a minute, because this whole self-care journey to my authentic self and the feeling that I feel inside is amazing, awesome, beautiful. And I know it gets better. Like, I really do. But then I think, do other people actually feel this way? No, seriously. Then I started thinking, I am like on this thing about, hey, everybody needs to know how awesome this feels and how alive and calm and, just, it's really awesome how you feel and how your body feels too, not just your head. Does everybody actually feel that? And I didn't. And then why didn't anyone tell me that that's what you could feel? It's one of those things. It's like when I first discovered bacon. I had been a vegetarian for 19 years. I will never forget the first time I had bacon. It was the first piece of meat that I ever had. Oh yeah, it's worth it. And I remember taking that bite and just like looking over at my friend and like, why didn't you tell me about this? I can't believe I missed out on it. So anyway, but then I started thinking, when I started kind of questioning all of this, oh, do other people feel this way and no one told me? Like, what's going on here? Then I thought, you know what? I think that might actually be the committee of assholes who are like nattering in my head, making me doubt myself. See how I caught that? Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. Oh, 9 minutes in, and I haven't even really talked about the podcast. Okay, back on track. But you know what the great thing is? This is mine, and I can do this. Okay, so anyway, the 3 steps that she says to change your life was to make the wish. So I got a good idea of what I want my wish to be. I'm just going to formulate it a little bit more clearer so I can actually see it, visualize it, but I got a good direction and a target that I am going towards. So that's great. The second thing she says, take action, which align into how you want to be or how you want to live. So if I see something and I want to do something, it kind of goes back to what I've said before. It won't get done unless you start it. right? So how can you end up over there if you're here? So then I started thinking, you know, if she could start her first podcast at 54, I could start my first YouTube channel at 48. And why not? Right? If that's what I want, why wouldn't I do it? Because if I don't do it, it won't happen. How else would it happen if I'm not doing it? Right? You know, that's like almost kind of, let me say that again. How can it happen? And how can you do it if you're not doing it and you don't make it happen? That sounds so simple. And then so when I think about Mel Robbins and what her messaging, and then I think about like what Deepak, I gotta know how to say that name, man. Holy. Anyway, and what he's saying about abundance, right? The universe is bountiful. Is that a word? So why not do the things that are gonna make you go to where you want to be? As Mel Robbins says, a brick in the bridge, right? Okay, so hello, here. That's why I'm here. Oh, and then the next thing she says, oh my goodness. Oh, look for evidence. That's really important. There is so much evidence, like holy, and she's one of them, right? And so many others. And all those other people who do self-care and they do their talks and they do their education, if they're doing it, I can do that. Totally. I believe in it. I'm passionate. I can do it. They can. And it's needed. So there you go. That's what I'm doing. So her 3 steps then is make a wish. Start taking actions that align with what you want or who you want to be. And look for evidence to support it. I like that. And now she also kind of talked about when you're like in that feeling really down, overwhelmed, defeated, hopeless, you know, those emotions that kind of really get to you. And so she was talking about steps that you can do to get out of that. So you're going to be able to want to make that wish. And of course, self-awareness. Number 1, we need to be able to identify that, right? We need to recognize what we're feeling. We need to be able to name it, label it, and then we can get rid of it. And she says, like, release it from your body, which I really appreciate because I really do believe we carry it in our bodies, obviously. And then the next thing she says is move your body. And I kind of got excited when she was talking about moving your body to feel better, like to get your emotions. Your emotions need motion, right? And your emotions change with motion. And they change for the good. So she's like, move your body. And talking about going for a walk, 20 minutes a day. Actually, I honestly can't remember if it's that podcast that she says that in, or maybe she says it in the 3rd one. Okay, I'm not quite sure. But she's somewhere, she said, going for a walk for 20 minutes. Oh, was it her? Anyway, I went for a walk today, so yay me. I'm going to do that. I'm going to move my body no matter how cold it is. And then the other thing she said is do something which makes you happy. And again, that makes me think of someone else who had said, you know, experience little luxuries throughout the day. And luxury, of course, doesn't have to be like rich, fancy, expensive things. It could be just simple music, classical music in the background. That is a real luxury, actually. I really enjoy that. And for me, I do my London fogs. I consider that to be a luxury. Yeah. So I thought that was really good. Do something. She had made examples of, you know, make yourself happy or feel happy. And she was like, buy herself flowers, right? That kind of stuff. And then again, remind yourself that this is temporary. This too shall pass, right? So I guess the takeaway there would be, no matter how you feel, act like the future you that you want to be, which I think is kind of good advice. Oh, she also talked about being the light on others' paths, right? So be somebody else's evidence, and how when you're someone else's evidence, you're a light, and I'm looking for evidence, so they're my light on the path. I really like that, and I like how, and as we know, we need to give to receive. We need to help others. We need to support others. When we build people up, we get built up as well, right? As I always said, when one woman succeeds, we all succeed with her. It's just really shitty when some have to tear each other down, but that's another story. And I think that is all that I really am going to talk about in this session right now, because I still have the exercises that I need to do for week 1 of the Artist Way. I'm going to try to write a horror story. I'm not sure what I'm going to go with that one yet. Anyway, thank you.